Exercise for sanity, not vanity.
Love that.
My crazy idea for the exercise snacks that then got picked up by Sky News. It's all about how effective that even 5 minutes, even a minute, every time you exercise, your metabolism is improving. Even when I post my own and my husband's transformation, I get the most likes and the most comments, but I'm trying to show you that exercise is going to help you feel good mentally, and it's going to help reduce, all these chronic illnesses. I want to break those barriers of cost, time, and motivation. Just give it a shot. Don't overthink it.
Welcome to the Bay HQ podcast, where we inspire, connect, and guide the next generation of British-aged entrepreneurs. Today we have with us Lavina Mehta MBE, who's a personal trainer, wellness coach, and mum of 3. She also won an MBE for her services to health and fitness during the pandemic. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
You're more than welcome. So your story's been really inspiring to so many people. And obviously the Queen at the time recognized that. Where did this all start from? Did you ever believe that you'd be where you are today and you'd be making the impact you're making in the health and fitness space when you were growing up?
Big no. I wasn't sporty when I was younger. I only got into my own fitness journey in my 30s. So I am now 44, full disclosure here.
You don't look a day 21.
Thank you. So literally, I wasn't into school sports. I just kind of ticked the boxes, fell in love with strength training when I left my corporate career. So after having our third boy, Sahil, who's now 15, and got in love with the gym, but only when I got my head around getting my own personal trainer, and fell in love with what it not only did for me physically, because I did have quite a lot of weight to shed. And you can scroll down really far down my Instagram to look at my before and afters. I don't post them often because it's not just about how we look. Obviously, I had been through pregnancy, so I'd put on the weight. I was probably twice the size that I am now. But it was more what it did for my mind. And in short, I never, ever imagined, let alone being a personal trainer, which is not very typical for an Asian woman. Although I think it's becoming quite on trend in the future, which is great to help inspire, anyone that wants to go down this route. But yeah, I studied management. So I was in the corporate world. And I guess I was doing, like most Asian parents wanted their daughter to go into a good career and settle down and have a family. And this has just been my passion. And it's obviously been an incredible couple of years, but really surreal even now talking about it.
What do you think stopped you from being sporty or into fitness when you were younger? Was it a mental thing, or what kind of prevented you? Was it just something you didn't know that you enjoyed yet?
I mean, I like team sports. So I did netball and lacrosse. I hated swimming because the school that I was in, we had to go into an outdoor swimming pool in the UK. So you can imagine me trying to, get my mom to write notes. I was always unable to attend those lessons. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I would never say that I chose to do it out of school. I did things like dance. I did Kathak, which is like an Indian traditional form of dance. I love my music. I loved art. Art was actually the career that I wanted to go down. So I did art A-level, and when I asked my parents if I could go to Central St. Martin's School of Art and then kind of discover what, career would then go from this 1-year foundation. My mum has always been very supportive, and she has led a similar path where she found cooking. So she's a cookery writer and an author, and she found her joy when my brother and I had kind of gone into independent secondary schools. So around the age of 11, she found her own path, which is what I've kind of done with my boys. And so mum always encouraged me to paint, but more as a hobby. And so I studied management at university. I would say, I think it's more that I was never really into the gym. I had free access to an amazing corporate gym when I was working in the city, and I would go to the odd class, but there was never, that kind of passion, and I didn't really fall in love with it. It was more that I should just do something for my health.
And you mentioned there about your corporate gym and your corporate career.
Yeah.
Because obviously before you were even doing this, you had a very good corporate career and you did work your way up, and you then gave it up later on. And how did that change you as a person, I guess? Because you had this mindset of you're at BP, right? And there was very few people like you doing what you were doing and rising up the ranks. And what was that decision like to then step away from that?
Really hard. I loved what I did. I would say actually the career that I had, after university was kind of, I think, comparable now when I'm writing and sharing my story to the last few years, because I started off just with a .com company. I don't know if you remember boo.com, and obviously the platform now is boohoo.com. But I'd done a thesis at UMIS in Manchester where I was studying about internet e-retailing, which was really unheard of. Like no one could ever imagine buying clothes on the internet. I got, a fantastic lecturer actually at UMIS. So I feel like I've met these incredible people that have really shaped my journey, like almost angels sent, to kind of guide me on this path. And I got an amazing job at this really small startup called boo.com that went boom to bust in 9 months. I started off as like a testing tester for their website. And then I got to a testing manager. I got to a project manager, all in the space of 9 months. And that is what kickstarted my career. Great position where people were looking for people with .com experience. And then I joined another company in Silicon Valley. I traveled a lot. I was in New York for a few months. So I was really embracing my career. I then became a mum and met my amazing husband. And I fought to go part-time, especially with my older two boys, because I was commuting, an hour and a half from Pinner to Canary Wharf. And then the demands of my role were such that I would be called in the middle of the night. So I managed all their intranet and extranet web hosting. So anything that went down at BP, I would get called. And I had to make the call when I fell pregnant with Sahil to give it up. And it was very, very difficult. I have no regrets especially because I was South Asian. I was young. I was actually managing teams that were all white and they were predominantly all male. So looking back on that now is, it's obviously given me great experience. Yeah, it was a hard decision, but I got to, the kind of level that I wanted to, which was great. Now I'm so glad to see that, mums and working mothers, females and males are offered, so much more on flexible working. And obviously the pandemic has changed the way we work anyway. So yeah, no regrets, but I did love every minute of my career. But I feel it served its purpose. It's given me such a good foundation. And that's why I do a lot of workplace wellness, because I love going back into companies. And, now it's to try and keep people fit and healthy, like physically, mentally.
And it's one of those things where I think sometimes people forget is that the big corporates have such a huge responsibility as well, right? If you've got 100,000 employees or 200,000, like something like BP or the Big Four, then bringing people like you on board to try and help those employees can actually make a really big difference, because people sometimes think it's got to be from the government, but then also the employers have got this access to so many people and also the resources where they can help too. What got you into that side of things? Because am I right in thinking it was first of all, you became a PT after your journey, after like trying to lose your pregnancy weight and then getting fitter? And then after that, where did it go from there?
Yeah, so I joined the gym when my youngest son, my older two had got into their schools. Youngest son had just started kindergarten. I just joined the gym, because I had a health scare when I was in my late 20s. So something that I have gone on to Sky News to talk about very openly, another big taboo, things that us, especially Asian communities, don't talk about, is where I found that I had some mild dyskaryosis. So it's some cell changes from a smear test. And obviously smear tests are things that women hate doing and we don't often talk about. So I raised a lot of awareness at the beginning, about that. But that little health scare then kind of got me into thinking I need to do something for myself. And I joined the gym, was jumping around classes. Then, like I said, I got my own personal trainer. I'd never, ever lifted weights. I think it's empowering, but it's just that way that when I was lifting those weights, it made me feel strong, body and mind. And it just kind of takes you away from all the noise outside, like any of your worries. I just love it's almost that flow state that people talk about. And I fell in love with what it was doing. I lost my father-in-law who was, literally my gem. He would be sitting, right here with me right now. He was like my angel, he helped me bring the kids up so much. The whole family did, but I had a very special bond with my father-in-law, and he got diagnosed with a brain tumor very quickly. So we lost him within 6 months. When my father-in-law was deteriorating so quickly, it was actually the gym that was my sanity. I then just decided, okay, let me just do some learning. I'd helped my mum actually print and publish her second book, which is called Feel Good with Food, which is where the Feel Good brand comes from. And I typed it, like while I was heavily pregnant. We did all the photography, learned a lot about antioxidants and the power of food. So it's all about the science behind what we eat and why we eat it. She's a biological scientist. So the nutrition side, I'd already started learning a lot from my mum. And then I was like, this is incredible, like what the gym is actually doing, especially through, such a hard life experience after losing my father-in-law, that I didn't tell anyone. And I did tell my husband and my kids that I wanted to do a home study course. And it was literally just for my own benefit, like not ever thinking it would be anything like a career. And in the evenings when the kids went to bed, I was basically doing biology, like A-level again. So level 2 was my fitness instructing and learning about physiology, anatomy, and the science behind exercise, which is what really excites me. And then I just carried on. I was like, this is amazing. I'm loving this. I did level 3. Again, didn't tell anyone. And then when I started telling a few friends, they were like, oh, Lavina, can you train us? And I actually was very blessed. We had a little home gym in our basement. I was like, okay, I'll just take a couple of friends on, just see how it goes. And it was incredible that not only did I get a huge demand, because I guess, it's very different to coming to me one-to-one in our own space, in sort of in my home rather than a big public gym, which can be quite intimidating. But I was starting to see incredible results. And I had women like from the age of 30 to 70, all different goals, not just weight loss. Some were just coming, the older ones had things like osteoporosis or diabetes, or they'd had operations, injuries. I had mums that were trying to lose, the weight. I had some that were going through menopause at the time. And I just loved it. I was literally dropping the kids off and I was just cramming my day with as many clients as I could, getting incredible results. So as an ex-project manager, I was really thorough about like structured plans, very personalized, really on it. And it was just that satisfaction of seeing someone, maybe coming in at the beginning of the session feeling really down and upset or whatever's going on in their lives, which we all have so much going on in our lives. Like social media is another whole topic we can touch on. But I really feel like that kind of feeling before a workout or a session and then seeing them leave, where the endorphins are released and they're feeling good and they're feeling more positive and just the smile. It was just so satisfying. And then obviously the results were incredible. So those that needed to lose weight were hitting their goals. Some women were just getting so strong. It was helping everything in their lives, like not just how they looked and how they felt, but even their relationships, maybe at work, maybe with their kids, maybe with their mother-in-laws, it's just kind of, I got so much satisfaction. I had a huge demand, huge waiting list, which I was very blessed to have. And I actually launched my own online app during that period. It was very new. And I got things set up, for online training and never really invested into it fully. And it was just when the pandemic hit that I had just prior to that got onto Sky News quite a few times.
So it's incredible to see like where you came from, where you got to, and like what you continue to do. And first of all, I just want to say about your father-in-law and with your mother as well, about the support you had from your family and like how nice it is to see. Because obviously with my own story and my own dad, then that's meant a lot to me. And I know that's a big reason why I've got to where I have got to today.
Yeah.
But I also loved you talked about with exercise, not just about weight loss. Because that's what I was asking you at the beginning, because I knew that initially some of the motivation was about weight loss after the pregnancy, but then you discovered so much more about mindset and how much more it was helping you. And you're saying about how you've helped people who came to train and they were feeling depressed and how at the end of the session they're feeling so much happier. And that's the kind of side of things which sometimes, I think especially in still South Asian communities where we don't appreciate it enough sometimes. People think, oh, you're going to the gym to look good. And it doesn't have to be like that at all, right? It can make your day feel better. It can just give you that sense of achievement sometimes as well for the like overload and going a little bit further each day. I want to also bring you back to where you said you started with just a few friends in the basement. Because sometimes, and I know people listening, they plan forever because they want to start with such a huge bang. But you don't need to do that, right? You can start with a few friends in your basement. You can start with a few customers, test the product out, see if you enjoy doing it. Because you might have taken the course, because you just took it for your own knowledge, right? You might take it for your own knowledge, like the information, but not really like teaching it. And there's something bad about that. It's just different personalities and what suits you.
Yeah.
But by doing it with your friends first, you could like test out, get your like program in place, work out what you like doing. So that when you do more customers in the future, then it's not as nerve-wracking, right? Because you've already done those, like you've got that experience in there.
Yeah.
And moving on to the online app now, you mentioned too many interesting things. And so I'm proud of myself remembering all of that.
Yeah.
With the online app, where did that come about from? Because obviously that's a way to scale the information you've got rather than just having, when you work with people one-on-one, you make such a transformation. But so many people can benefit from your ideas and what you're doing. So where did that online app come from?
Yeah, I mean, it was good because actually it was a tool that I found. And I was thinking, you know, even when I go into the gym, you kind of go into the gym, there's so many machines, people just head straight for the cardio, whereas I'm trying to get them to lift weights because honestly, if you do want to lose weight, lifting weights is, I would say, more effective than cardio. So not only are you retaining and building your muscle mass, the more muscle mass you have at rest, your body is going to continuously burn calories. So it's going to really help if you've got weight loss goals. And being South Asian, obviously being in a good normal weight range is important just because of our risk factors. We're so disproportionately affected by things like diabetes, heart disease, stroke, heart attack. You know, the list goes on. Unfortunately, it's just in our communities, right? I'm sure you've got members of the family, friends, you know, that have got diabetes. So hence I'm now a Diabetes UK ambassador because you can hear I'm very passionate about this. But yeah, the app was actually a fluke, I would say. It was more that when I went into the gym, I wanted to, you know, people have to carry notebooks. I wanted to log my workouts and I was getting stronger. And, you know, it is little old me, but even now, you know, I get a buzz out of my like 70 kg deadlifts or my 100 kg glute bridges. It's not that I'm saying lift heavy, but I wanted to track my progress, being that ex-project manager probably as well. So I did find a great tool and I developed my own app and I started giving it to some of my regular clients. I was like, you know, now I want you to feel confident. It doesn't mean that I just want you to keep coming to me because I'm a mum of 3 and I'm squeezing you in and I know you want to come, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times, but I want you to have the confidence to go and train on your own. So follow this plan, log it all. We can track your progress and you could log your food, you could log your weight, your measurements, your progress pictures, all that kind of fun stuff on this one tool. And obviously now, I mean, the pandemic has changed the health and fitness industry so much that now, you know, you see an influx of online PTs, online content, online apps. So it was really, I would say, quite fluky that I, you know, sort of generated this and it was ready for the future of fitness. But what I did, you know, obviously when the pandemic hit was totally out of my comfort zone. So what you're saying about sometimes don't overthink it, you know, don't worry too much and don't plan too much, because I would honestly say hand on heart that everything that's happened in my journey has been without that sort of planning. It's just been going with the gut. Sometimes I go for walks. I call them feel-good walks because that's where I got my crazy idea for the exercise snacks that then got picked up by Sky News, featured on Sky News, which then called me back.
Tell us more about that. Tell us more about exercise snacking.
Yeah, so exercise snacking is my lovely concept. It is not having a jalebi or a samosa while we're exercising. It's all about short, bite-sized amounts of movement. And I went back to the science of exercise and I was thinking, you know, sometimes we're all leading such busy lives. You know, I'm a mom, I've got obligations with the family, with the kids, the house. I'm starting this new career path. I may not have time to go into a gym for 60 minutes or an hour. And the science behind exercise snacking is quite amazing. It's all about how effective that even 5 minutes, even a minute, you know, like over the age of 60 with the workouts I now do for seniors, it's even a minute is better than nothing. And every time you exercise, your metabolism is actually improving. So it can all add up to try and hit the government guidelines, which is what I really want people to hit to help reduce our risks of chronic illnesses, you know, from everything from cancers, osteoporosis, heart disease, diabetes. The science you can hear, the passion I really have is the magic that exercise does beyond how we look. And that's why I say mental health is so important, especially in our communities. It's not talked about. You know, I read about the terrible rates, you know, of suicide for Asian men and that pressure, you know, that especially Asian men have and they put on themselves from external cultural family pressures. It's so hard and so sad for me to see that people aren't opening up. And I think it's changing. So I've been trying to, obviously, last few years, raise a lot about breaking these taboos and get people to talk. But the mental health benefits, that's why I say exercise for sanity, not vanity, has been my slogan throughout.
I love that.
And you won't see, unfortunately, a lot of transformation pictures on my Instagram. You can go to my website and you'll see all my old one-to-one clients. And if that's what, gets you excited, have a look at them. Even when I post my own and my husband's transformation, I get the most likes and the most comments. But I'm trying to show you that exercise is going to help you not just look good, but feel good mentally, and it's going to help reduce, all these chronic illnesses that we're so disproportionately affected by in our communities.
It's on the mental health point there, obviously, with what I've been through recently with my dad. It's the whole community side of things where, like, at my dad's funeral, so many people came up to me and said, oh, so you're the man of the house and I need to look after everybody. It's like, is that really helpful? It's like, is that actually helping me? Or is that like, I know they're obviously coming from a good place. They want me to make sure that I'm like helping my mum and my sisters.
Yeah.
But it's like, what do you think that does to me? Obviously, I'm already putting a lot of pressure on myself, right? And even now, like, I'm self-aware enough to know what I'm doing. But even, for example, with the BHQ, I'm dedicating my efforts towards my dad. So everything now is so tied up with that deeper meaning that when things don't go well, right, everything's going well so far, touch wood. But if something doesn't go well, then it then has a much deeper effect that can then have quite major effects on my mental health. But I'm at least aware enough to know that, and I'm trying to put up the support system around me to do that. And one of the crazy things is that with exercise, so I tore my knee in March in my meniscus.
Ooh.
So I was doing physio at the time that my dad went into hospital, and I stopped once he went into hospital because I was in and out of the hospital at the time. I haven't really gone back to it yet. And it's one of these crazy things of where I know that I should be going back to it. I know I should be doing more health stuff again and focus on my health. But it keeps dropping down because of all the toxic things I've got going on in terms of me making sure that I'm doing this or doing that and the pressure. And I guess it's me calling myself out now. Yeah. So that people listening, and by the time this comes out, if you ask me, oh, did you actually do what you said you're going to do?
Yeah.
So hopefully, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym and make sure I keep getting back into it again.
Yeah.
And like with what you're doing, and obviously you're so passionate about what you do, but to get up on stage or to get up on TV and talk about this, did you always have that confidence, or where did that confidence come from to go onto Sky News and talk about mental health or to make that impact you're making? Because there are many people maybe feel the same way as you, but they feel like, oh, but I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to go up in the news. I wouldn't be able to do this. How did you discover that in yourself?
Trust me, I had no confidence. I never thought, I got an incredible buzz. I remember that first Sky News, when they got me on and they were literally showing exercise snacks of like me and my husband dressed up in like Christmas outfits. It was so embarrassing, but that buzz and the feedback, I think it's more the feedback that I got from people and the messages of support, or like, okay, oh my God, this is a brilliant idea. I'm going to go off, and it doesn't matter. Like you said, actually, I'm going to say to you, you don't need to go to the gym. You could even just do 10 minutes when you wake up, right? Just start off very small, 5 minutes. So just like tomorrow, just, text me and let me know if you've done, 10 press ups, 10 squats, like just wake up, just build it into your daily routine. And that little 5 minutes will hopefully make you feel good. And then you'll kind of build on it. So don't put the pressure of like, oh my God, I've committed to Lavina, I'm going to the gym for an hour. So going back to Sky News, it was more that, wow, I could just help so many people. There were thousands of people messaging me. And I thought, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I just want to help people. So it was that little taster which made me go live when gyms were shutting, or people were starting to feel a little bit weird. At the beginning of the COVID pandemic, it was like, I think it was March the 8th, if I remember correctly, before the lockdowns were even announced. And my husband and I were at the gym and it was just getting emptier and emptier. And then I said to him, look, this is probably not right for us to come in here. Let's start training from home. And I just had a wild idea. And I said, my younger son, Sahil, was being homeschooled. But it was actually before that. I said on the weekend, let's just go live. I've opened up this Instagram account. I had about 800 followers and I've never, ever done anything like it. So when you're asking, like, do you have to have that confidence? I didn't really have that self-belief. Even to this day, like us sitting here, this is all quite surreal, to be honest. And it's not about like, I've had no media training, formally when I went on Sky. I was just myself. And I think hopefully that's what I want people to relate to, especially mums that may have given up their career and you're kind of maybe thinking that I want to do something for myself. Honestly, all I can say is just give it a shot. Don't overthink it. Start off small, get that confidence. I actually went the other extreme and got onto Sky, and it was quite big. But the Instagram lives, again, even though I was an IT project manager, I wasn't technical, and I'd never ever done anything like a live on Instagram. And we did a 15-minute lunchtime exercise snack, which then became a daily thing, and it just grew. I mean, the response we got was insane. I didn't ever think that I would just be in the garden, playing with toilet roll games, and I was thinking up like football games so it would get all members of the family. It was more, I said, I want to boost people's immune systems and I want them mentally to feel okay, because there's so much anxiety about the pandemic. People were worried about, what was going on. And then we did an evening program every day, my husband and son. So I have to thank them publicly for, agreeing to even do those workouts. And it was amazing. It was also incredible to see like my parents, that are in their 70s who could just about use a mobile phone, trying to log on to Instagram and join us for the workouts, because I feel like there's been such a lack of education around the power of exercise in our own communities, right? And so my mum would be the typical, I'm doing a lot, Lavina. I'm always cooking and cleaning. I don't need to exercise, or I do a little bit of yoga. And I'm like, Mum, you need to try and start lifting weights, like not heavy weights, but just your body weight. And you need to be hitting your cardio goals, like for a consistent amount of time, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but not just, I'm just cooking and cleaning and keeping busy. And so, then I started streaming on all platforms because I really wanted to get the older generation. I found that they, through the pandemic, I just felt were suffering so badly, like being away from their loved ones, being isolated, the loneliness, and that generation I wanted to keep moving. So that's why I started the workouts with my mother-in-law, who again is amazing and was very camera shy and literally refused. When I said, would you like to go on camera with me? It's only because we're Jain, and I kind of said to Mum that I think this will really help people. And, obviously part of our Jain religion is all about helping people and, giving back. And, I knew she had those values. So she's been a rock for me, just doing these workouts, which I continue to do. So anyone listening, please join in yourselves, because it's not just for seniors anymore. It's for all of us, as we're sitting here watching this. I want you to be able to do some squats on the chair. I want you to just maybe do some stretches, some mobility exercises. We're all, rounding our backs and on screens and slouching away. But there's so much we can do even seated. So that's why going to workplaces. But I want to encourage all ages to move. So we do our free sessions every Friday at 10 o'clock, and they're all saved on YouTube. But I think the biggest breakthrough was when I got 70, 80, 90-year-old Asian men as well as women, and they regularly join me. And just the smiles and the engagement and the feedback that I get. And we talk about disease risk. I've had so many messages from people where their cholesterol, their blood pressure's gone down. They've reversed their type 2 or pre-diabetes. They're feeling stronger. Their osteoporosis, their knee pain, all of that has gone, like touch wood. Exercise is honestly that magic pill, alongside healthy eating, good sleep. I'm also into gratitude and journaling, which I think we should all be doing, and just having those moments of breathing techniques as well, which is what I start my workouts with. I think there's a lot of things in lifestyle that we can bring in, but I want to bring them in easily. So I do little snacks for everything just to get people started and hopefully enjoy it.
So it's so incredible what you've done already, and like how many people you've helped, and it's changing their attitudes, right? And getting people who traditionally might not exercise or might not look after themselves to start doing that.
Yeah.
But like, I want to encourage everybody who comes on this to keep dreaming and keep looking forwards of like more impact they can make. And it's being content with what you've done so far, but also knowing, like, having that excitement about what the future is.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about right now? What are you excited about that you're working on, or impact you're making, or impact that you want to make in the future?
I'm just super excited that, I'm blessed that I'm in this position. I hope it helps inspire, like you said, anyone that's got that little inkling or that little passion. You don't know where it's going to take you. I honestly didn't think I'd be here today. I am very excited about topics that I'm, bringing to the forefront of discussions like the menopause, which again is another taboo subject. And it's only because I broke down in tears on Instagram and realized that I was perimenopausal after seeing, this powerful documentary and the links that it has with our long-term health, with things like our brain health, bone health, and heart health. So again, I was very open. And I guess it's, it's a word that even in our communities to this day, I have people DMing me all the time where they don't understand what perimenopause or menopause is. Basically, I'm very excited about embracing all these opportunities, like even me being here today. Thank you so much for inviting me, because if it just helps one person, or if it gets one person moving, or even if it just changes your mindset around exercise, that it doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be long. I want to break those barriers of cost, time, and motivation. Like, I've got free workouts out there. You don't have to have an expensive gym membership. We use plastic bottles and tins, you'll see on my workouts. You can do stuff from home so easily, but find something that you enjoy. And if you're ever down, like even what I say, you'll see daily, I go on my feel-good walks. It's literally just 5 minutes can be what you need if you're feeling anxious or stressed in your day, or if you just want that boost of productivity. Just go and maybe, if you can, look at nature and just go out in the fresh air, wrap up and just go, because I guarantee it will make you feel good.
So for the people who are inspired by the impact you've made, what advice would you give them to try and make an impact in whatever area they want to make an impact in?
I would just say life is too short and just go for it. Don't hold back, don't overthink it. Try and have that belief in yourself. And you know what? You may not resonate. I'm extremely real on social media. There's no filters. I don't have the highest quality sound and production. I literally just go live, like with my mother-in-law, I just do my own little reels. I don't have an agent. I don't have management. It's me, myself, and I. But find something that you enjoy and that you're passionate about. And hopefully that passion will come out. And I think for me, giving back, the charity work that I do with numerous charities like Diabetes UK, Alzheimer's Society, Brain Tumor Research, like our BAPS, the Knees and Temple, like all these community groups, it's just getting that feedback. Sometimes I never realized the power of giving back. And that's like kind of my focus now, is just trying to help just that one person. It's not about numbers for me. I'm too old for social media in a way. I'm not the average 20-something-year-old personal trainer. So I hope it breaks the taboos and the self-doubt that people can have. And life's too short, like I said. Just live it, go for it, believe in yourself.
So I love everything you just said there, but we're going to need to move on to the quick fire questions now.
Okay.
So the first one is, who are 3 British Asians you like to shout out that people listening right now should be paying attention to and they should be following?
Very hard. You said no family members. Obviously, my mum. No, I'm joking. So 3 women I would like to spotlight. One of them is Shweta Agarwal, and I'm actually hosting her book launch, which is all about her personal journey and memoirs of colorism and how it's really affected her. She's written an amazing book called The Black Rose Way. So please follow Shweta. She's an incredible gym buddy of mine. We actually met in the gym. Another one is Hiral Shah, who is very high up at Barclays. But what I think is so inspiring is the fact that she's brought diversity to Barclays, and she's really started off this whole Asian professional network within Barclays. And it's just great to see a mum of 2, having my old corporate hat on, but she's also now been able to carry on with her career and inspire Asians, in a company like Barclays. She's also one of my best friends. And so she's been with me through thick and thin. So I love Hiral. And thirdly is Minal Sachdev, who I know you've had her sister Mira on the podcast. So I'm very angry at Mira because you're not allowed to say family members, I thought. So another shout out for Minal Sachdev, who is a local councillor, but her work on anti-trafficking, anti-slavery, on poverty, on giving back. I mean, she is the most selfless, most giving soul I know, and my best friend, love her to bits, but I think she's very inspiring in the world of politics and in terms of giving back as well.
So you mentioned your mum has got a book out as well, right?
Yeah.
So if your mum is a public figure, then you can give her a shout out too.
Yay. Okay, I'm going to give you her book in a minute. We better put that on one of our photos. Yeah, so my mum, Kumud Shah, is my inspiration. It's her book, Feel Good with Food, that we self-published, that created the Feel Good brand, that hopefully Feel Good with Lavina will continue. Her book's her legacy. And she's just, I think, been my champion, and she inspires me every day with her brain, her knowledge, and her passion as well.
So if people listening right now want to reach out to you for guidance or for help, what should they reach out to you about?
Yeah, if you want any inspiration, I guess, on health and wellness, I post a lot about my own perimenopausal journey, about simple tools that we can use in our day-to-day lives, exercise snacks and longer chair workouts, workplace wellness as well. So yeah, please reach out, have a look at all my social media. Hopefully there's a lot of content there and a lot of free workouts as well. And I do have my Facebook community as well, which is, like saved workouts that women can have a proper community and use online. So I'm trying to make it very accessible. If you're thinking about exercising, just jump on my page and even try one of my exercise snacks out.
And then on the other side, what's something that you need help with right now? What's something that maybe somebody in the audience could help you with?
So what I would love help with is actually sharing my workouts. So if you could just tell one person, whether it's your sibling or your parent or your grandparent, there is no age barrier. There's no ability barrier to my workouts. They've gone up to the age of 100. Please just tell someone to join in so that way I can continue my mission to help as many people feel good as possible.
Thank you so much for coming on today. Have you got any final words to the audience?
No, I think, what you guys are doing at the Bay HQ is incredible. I'm very much about our community lifting each other. There is space and there's room for everyone. We're all different. I think the more support we can give each other, the better. So really thank you all for listening, and thank you, Amardeep, for having me on.
Thank you for listening to the Bay HQ podcast today. In our mission to inspire, connect and guide the next generation of British Asian entrepreneurs, it would mean so much to us if you could subscribe to our channel, leave a review and share this with your friends.